you remember which button that is?
No.
Because you did must have did it accidentally. Because we are recording, which means we're back with episode 4, season 2 of the Designated Players Podcast. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back to another episode. I'm excited you're here. I hope you're excited to be here. It's season 2, episode 4. The whiteboard is still moving. We love it. We love it. We love it. Deep diving part 2. I'm not clever enough to think of a new quote. So formations, coaching decisions, and trusting the system, part 2. This week, we're covering Nashville, DC United, Austin, Montreal, Seattle, Real Salt Lake, Atlanta, Portland, and New England. So last week was my week, getting to talk about Red Bull, getting to talk about a whole bunch of different other teams that I enjoy talking about. Next week, I don't think we're even going to show up because Adam has just got a string of teams left that he is just driving the hype train for. So it might just be an Adam episode. But this week, Connor dove in a little bit and broke down a whole bunch of teams. And I'm excited to see kind of what he brought to the table because he's got a little soccer mind in there. Tennis players got a little bit.
I think I need some more hype trains, honestly. I don't think I have enough hype trains. Like I gotta
You definitely
catch up.
don't.
Yeah. I think one team I'm gonna add to the hype train. I think I'll get on the Austin hype train.
Oh, I'm with you there. You drive it, I'll jump aboard. And I've already said that I love that team.
Yeah. I know right now they're not great, but I also like Arcel. Probably just because I have a couple of their store-bought items, but
He's got a kit and a scarf. He basically calls himself a super fan.
yeah, pretty much.
Speaking of scarf, that's segue. Yeah, I'm really good at that. Scarf of the week. Never start an episode without going through scarf of the week. Connor, you somehow have another new scarf. Who are you stealing these from?
I had another Atlanta scarf, but I feel like I remember showing it, but I'm not sure. So I played it safe and decided to go with Montreal because they're on the list. We're going to talk about it today. Actually, stand corrected. This team doesn't exist anymore.
That's facts.
That's unfortunate. But yeah, nothing too crazy about it. Got the name and logo on one side and then surprise city skyline.
There should be like a template for all these scarves. It's the name, it's the city skyline, or it's like one of their slogans.
Yeah, and then have a template for the jersey. Has to be white
with very minimal other features, just straight white. And
that's it. Just a white t-shirt, and then put the logo on it.
Love it. I'm gonna go second because I always go last, and I'm better than you guys, so I should at least be second because it is my podcast after all. You guys are just here helping along. See, the fact that they're not disagreeing with me, they know it's true. Welcome to the dictatorship, everybody. This one goes out to my brother once again, picking me up 2 scarves for Christmas. One was the Red Bull one I showed in episode 1. The next one, he thought I was a supporter of Club America in Liga MX, although he forgot that I am actually a supporter of Querétaro. But I digress. It's a nice scarf. It's blue on one side. It's got the gold on the other. It's pretty fresh. Like I said, I like it. I think it's nice. This is the end of my new scarf list. I'm gonna have to order some more when Paycheck Friday comes around. But I mean, I'm hoping I get some money back from the taxes too. So I get tax money back. Oof. Every scarf, all of the scarves are mine. Adam.
I didn't think I was actually talking this episode. This will be my one contribution to tonight, and then I'll just mute myself and you guys can continue. So it's in honor of St. Patrick's Day, so you guys can see I'm in my green shirt. Got my.
Are you Irish or something?
No, I'm not. Genuinely not Irish.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. And because it's one of the teams we're talking about, I took out that's nothing on that side, my Timber scarf. So it's just nice design. No words on this one.
I'll be honest with you. I don't like that.
Oh, it's fine. I don't like you either.
I mean, we knew that, but you have a lot of really nice scarves that I like. It's not one of them.
I'm trying to think of where. Oh, this one's from Portland. Because Matt.
I don't care where it's from. It's still hideous.
That's fine.
I'm a big fan of the solid with team logo on the ends and team name across.
Wasn't there a jersey like this design one year?
I didn't like that jersey either.
I mean, it's fair, but like at least there's a reason for it.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Anybody who's watching, leave us a comment. Fan, not a fan. I already know the answer. Let's dive into it deeply. Deep diving. Episode name. Clever, right? I know. Make sure you're tweeting us the name or the quote of the week with hashtag QOTW to get entered into some sort of draw we may or may not do at the end of the season. I don't know. Figure it out. Quote of the week, as I mentioned, formations, coaching decisions, and trusting the system, part 2. Anyways, let's dive right in. Nashville. Gary Smith leads the Nashville men in year number 2. Last year, finishing 7th in the East, 14th in the league, making it all the way to the quarterfinals and losing to Columbus, knocking out Toronto and I'm drawing a blank. Who'd they beat in the first round? In Miami. That's right. toasted Blaise Matuidi. Dax McCarty did. What a guy.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's right. I was trying to remember. I remember the game. Adam,
I thought you were just taking a dig at him, honestly.
I mean, I am fully okay with Dax running past everybody.
Wow. Did that just sound really muffled to anybody else?
Yeah.
Did it?
You broke up. You broke up in the middle. I think you said, I don't even know what you said, but
he's just made robot noises.
He just made robot noises. The joys of recording a podcast from 2 different states and 3 different geographic locations.
Well, whose fault is that?
Yours, evidently.
I don't think so. We outnumber you.
No, you don't. I count
Sure.
people. It's my podcast.
That's the Alfred math coming out right there.
No more digressions. Anyways, they knocked off Inter Miami and Toronto in the playoffs to lose to Columbus in the quarterfinals. 8-7-8 last year. You got to think they're going to go back with a similar to the same formation because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Willis in goal with Johnston, Zimmerman, Romney, Dan Lovitz on the outside, Anunga and McCarty in the midfield, Hani Mukhtar, Cam, Leal, and I don't know why you put a slash there. Connor prepped this team. He put Muil / Pinero. We all know that it's going to be Muil because he is the GOAT. So it's Leal and Muil, and Yannickadi is up top, who I think is a really good addition. Question for the lot. Did they need to do more in this window, or do they need to do more for those of us who think that the window's still open or just opened? Where do they need to improve? What do they need to improve? What's the deal here? Adam Tabarello, your thoughts?
I don't know if they need to do more. I think if you told any Nashville fan before the season that they were going to go 8-7-8 and make the playoff run that they did, if they would take that, I think every single one of them would have snapped your arm off. They were easily the better of the 2 expansion teams last season. Like, it's not that difficult of a take to say that. So I don't think they necessarily need to do more. The team itself and the franchise now know kind of what MLS is all about. Granted, they came into the year when the world ended. So this will be like their first actual normal, hopefully, MLS season. But no, I think maybe add 1 or 2 more guys for depth, but I'm very excited to see how this team looks year 2.
I agree. I think the only thing I think they could have done better is get some depth in. Personally, like I said, I think they did totally fine last year, and I'm not worried because they are another team that we talk about frequently where it's not the players, it's the system, much like Red Bull. And I'm not diving into it. I'm just saying. But in all seriousness, right, they are a team that builds strictly off of who they are as a unit instead of individual talent. And I would be excited to see how they perform next season. Losing not a ton and picking up not a ton, but still having CJ Sapong on the back depth. Panero, we talked about coming in, backing up the GOAT. Not much else from my understanding. I think they could have done better getting a little bit more depth, but other than that, real happy with that. Connor.
It's weird because every time I think about this team, probably mostly because of the run that they had in the playoffs, I keep thinking that they were like a top 5 team in the East and like really competing for like the top of the East. But they finished 7th, and then they finished in the bottom half of like the overall standings, which feels kind of weird because it felt like they were better than that. Maybe that's because they were playing better in the second half and they had that run in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, I think that their record doesn't really show how they were playing towards the end of last season. I think that they were a better team than it looks like on paper. I feel like, I know we were talking about this a little bit yesterday when we were prepping for this. In some areas, it kind of feels like you look at the team and you're like, it feels like they overplayed last year. Like it shouldn't have worked as well as it did. But at the same time, if they're not going to change anything, I can't see really too many reasons why it would not work unless the teams around you get better or other teams start to figure you out. That's my only worry for this team, is that because they didn't really change anything, if other teams start to figure them out, then that could run them into some trouble. But I mean, if they do what they did towards the end of last season, then they're going to be a fantastic team again this year.
Like I said, the other thing that we got to keep in mind, they've also got Godoy at center mid, even though they are losing Derek Jones, who played striker at some point. But they have added that striker depth, winger depth. I feel like I'm not super sure about who they have defensively to back up their relatively solid back line. So if one of them goes down, who's next man up? Just something to keep in mind. I guess we'll just highlight some key players as well. That's what we did last time. Obviously, Dax McCarty, GOAT, Red Bull legend. That's why this team is so good. Dax and GOAT. You don't need anybody else. Anyways, Dax McCarty, that leader in the midfield, that rock, better than Blaise Matuidi in all facets of the game. Hani Mukhtar, DP, going to need to see him produce a lot once again, and they are building around him very nicely. So as long as he settles in really well, I think that'll be exciting to watch. And of course, Walker Zimmerman in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. Did he win? I believe he won, didn't he? Yeah. So Defensive Player of the Year last year. Obviously, he's going to head up that back line and keep it nice and solid for them. Who needs to have a really good 2021? Hani Mukhtar. Yes, he is their DP. He's their star man, and he's going to have to produce. When you think about this team, the first person you think of is not always Hani Mukhtar, and that's not a great look. I won't say it's not a good look. It could be, depending on how it goes. I'm going to say it's actually probably a really good look because it means the team is really balanced. Not necessarily a bad look because he performed. It's not like a Gonzalo Verón where he was your DP and didn't do anything, and when you thought about the team, you didn't think of him. It's a different one where you're so balanced in the back line when you got McCarty behind you, got Cadiz up top, Mouil on the wing, right? Like things like that. It's so balanced really well. You don't have to focus on just him, right? Zimmerman as well. Give him another year, and you're talking about maybe moving him outside of this league, which would be really good for him. It could maybe put him back in the national team picture. but regardless, he will still be the one of the top center backs in the league, no question. And finally, Mr. Cadiz up top did not make a regular season start last year, only came in the playoffs. So we saw that he has really good flashes. Can he do it for a full season? That's where we're at. So what I think you're going to see is very, very similar to what we saw last year. A team that has a very defined identity, a team that sticks to that identity, and a team that is going to go forward after they know that they're secure in the back. I'd like to see creativity. That's what I would look for if I'm watching in this team. They know what they're doing. They know what sticks. But with Leal, with Pinero, with Cadiz, with Mukhtar, they have a lot of creativity out there. The way they can be solid at the back and still go forward and have a little bit of creativity about them. So I'd love to see that incorporated into their game this year. But that's just me. Shall we move on to the death of Benny Ball? This hurts me. So.
Sure.
Adam, would you like to go into it?
Yeah. So I was actually gonna start by saying, Andrew, try not to cry during this next team.
I think I might just. I'll see you guys later.
Okay, that's fair. We know Andrew's gonna go crawl into a ball because
Benny Ball.
Benny Ball is dead.
R.I.P. Benny Ball.
Yeah. So DCU come in with Hernan Lozada at the helm. Correct me if I'm wrong. He came in halfway through-ish last season.
Who was that?
Lozada.
No.
Right? When did Ben Olsen leave?
Ben Olsen left at the end of the season,
End of the season? Okay.
Or, well, it was closer to the end of the season, but he didn't start
the
new position until end of season.
Gotcha. Okay. Even still, so they finished 13th in the East, 24th overall in the league, and missed the playoffs because I don't think any of us are really surprised there. Finished only with 5 wins, with the 5-12-6 overall. Who knows? I mean, our guess would be they play some sort of 3-1-4-2. It's what Losada played in Belgium with Bierstadt, with some combination of Hameed in goal, Birnbaum, Brilliant, and probably Donovan Pines as a back. Russell Canals when they remember to put him on the team sheet. Moreno and Neiman in the middle. Gressel hopefully at his rightful position at right mid. Flores on the other side with Kamara and Bolivar up top. Right? That's probably our guess. I mean,
yeah,
Gressel could be at center back, left mid, at the 10, goalie. Like, who knows what Julian Gressel's going to be? Because they don't really play with the right back anymore, potentially. So that spot's out. But he's still going to be one of their key players, arguably. They spent a lot of money on him to bring him in from Atlanta. But like we just said, like he played literally every position under Ben Olsen. Yes, he's versatile, and that's what makes him so valuable. But playing him in one position consistently is what's going to help him get back to what he looked like at Atlanta. And then the other 2 key players we have are Birnbaum, so center back captain. DC was not good defensively last season. They're kind of all over the place. I think having someone like Pines next to him, so young-ish center back, hungry to make a real lockdown starting position for himself, will hopefully help him keep some more clean sheets. And then obviously Bill Hameed. So I know Andrew doesn't want him to be in the national team picture, but potentially still there. Maybe
he's not in the national team picture. Please,
I know he's not, but I know how much you want him to be.
I don't want him anywhere near there.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
He's not good.
I mean, he's kind of all right.
Sometimes he's not good. Sometimes he is.
Sometimes, yeah, that's fair. The 3 players we have who probably need to have a good 2021 if DC, want to make that return to the playoffs and take the next step forward under this new coach. So Bill Hameed, I mean, obviously, I want to say once upon a time, one of the best goalies in the league. I know Andrew will reach through this camera and try to punch me in the face.
He's not.
I didn't say now. I said once upon a
He
time.
never was.
One of the better ones? He probably was.
I'd say maybe top 10 if he's lucky, out of 20 at that point.
It's just bitter.
That's not bitter. He's mistake prone.
I didn't say he wasn't, but on his
If you make a mistake 4 out of every 5 games, it doesn't make you one of the best keepers in the league.
fair.
Yeah, you're damn right. It's fair. Don't start with me.
The other one would be Kamara. So want to see him get back to the form we had with Columbus. That'll hopefully help the rest of his team around him kind of free up, and like the attacking talent's there. I mean, Flores didn't do anything. I feel like there was a lot of hype last year when he came in. Granted, last season was a mess and kind of will leave the asterisks next to it as far as form, and you're playing once every 17 days if you're lucky. But I think this is the season, assuming everything's normal and they have a preseason, which they do at the moment, that he takes that next step.
I think, to me, one of the really interesting things to watch on this side is going to be the formation that he puts out. He has played a bunch of different formations, but when he was hired, there's a stat website. I'm not exactly sure what it was called, but it put out like all these really in-depth stats about how he plays and how many expected goals you should look to see when he comes in, this, that, and the other. But a 3-1-4-2 in this league is bold and unheard of. They also, I'm not sure they've got the center back depth to do it unless they're trying to drop Knaus back there, or one of their right backs, Odiatsum or oh goodness, left back. I can see his name, Joseph Mora, into that spot. But that's asking a lot of 3 defenders who came out of one of the worst in the league last year, and only putting one in front of them is going to leave you way exposed if you're going to go attack. Now, granted, you'll get a lot of goals, but you're going to give up a ton too. Hameed's going to have to pull off some magical stuff, and I almost kind of want to watch this team play in that formation just to see what Bill Hameed does, because there's a 50-50 shot he just runs out, plays sweeper keeper, and tries to kick somebody in the head.
I mean, you'll get some of the defensive work from your wingbacks. So like Gressel, will drop back defensively just because of how much time he spent playing as a right back, both at DC and Atlanta. So it's a 3-back, but I think he'd be the one to drop back. I don't see Flores doing a whole lot of work defensively.
Well, and that's where you're going to fall into issues, right? If you have one of the 2 wingers who refuses to come back and defend, it's a very easy space to attack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if Flores doesn't come back and defend, then Knaus is going to probably have to cover that area a little bit more, and then that's going to leave the middle open. So unless Moreno or Nyman are going to drop back there, then I think that it could definitely cause some problems for them. And I think when we were looking at it yesterday, Andrew, I'm sure DC fans can speak on it better than we can, but didn't it say that Birnbaum and Hameed are listed as injured right now too?
It does. I can't assume it's super long.
Yeah.
But the big kicker for me there is going to be, if he's hurt, that means you're down to 3 center backs out of 3. And you're looking at this in Yemen, 17-year-old center mid, already got rumors to some European teams, I'm sure. I'm very interested to see him perform, because he's got this kind of U.S. youth national team buzz around him, which I think is pretty cool. But this is a big year for him if he wants to show off and show that off. There are others that they can put in there, right? You can slide in Felipe Martins, who came back. He's coming off an injury, but he can slide back in there. I believe he's still on roster. I heard that they got him back. I thought he would let go at some point, but anyways, there are players that you can slide around and fit into that system. But I think they're going to give him the nod just to see if they can get some minutes out of him. Any other thoughts there, or shall we move into the newcomers?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think Connor took this one because it's the easiest because we don't have to talk about how they did last year.
Yeah, because if you didn't know, I just didn't pay attention at all last year.
Well, based off of the way you cheated on your predictions, I believe it.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway,
clearly you didn't look at my standings predictions. Clearly, there was definitely no cheating. But anyway, Austin, welcome to the party. We can clearly see that you have come dressed to impress. If you could please leave 2020 Houston at the door, that would be great. Anyway, so their coach coming into this year, Josh Wolf. Obviously, as we said, nothing from last year, new team. So based on the coach and where he was coaching last, which was as an assistant with the men's national team. So we looked up what some of the formations that they played during that time. And, it was all over the place. But we noticed that they played a 4-1-4-1 at the Gold Cup. And so we decided to go with that one as our choice. We think it fits the team as well. Obviously, we are not experts, definitely not on Austin. So we could absolutely be wrong on this. But based on the 4-1-4-1, we have them lining up with either Tarbell or Scott in goal, with Lima at right back, Beasler at center back, with Romana the other center back, Sweat and Kolmanich at left back, Ring is the defensive midfielder, Pochettino as one of the central attacking midfielders, and then Segura or Stroud as the other central attacking midfielder, Redis on the right, Dominguez on the left, and then at striker either Hosen or Schoenfeld. Now there's other guys on the team as well, like John Gallagher, who could probably play into this team a bit, or I'm not sure where they would play him, to be honest, because I know Gallagher can sometimes play on the wings. Atlanta played him as a striker last year, so I don't really know where to put him on this list. And I'm sure it's other guys as well that could be in the running for some game time. But these are the guys that we think are going to start for Austin. So based on that, we see their key players as Alex Ring, who we consider to be one of, if not the best defensive midfielder in the league. Thomas Pochettino, who can definitely be the focal point for the attack for Austin. I think a lot can play through him, shifting from the defense into the attack, playing it out to Dominguez, playing it out to Hosen, Redis, doesn't really matter. It seems like a lot will go through him. And then Matt Beasler in the back line, because obviously this is a brand new team. They're going to need to build some chemistry in the back line. And I think that Matt Beasler is a great player to have back there that can kind of be a leader and kind of help build some chemistry. And we've seen what he can do with SKC for many, many years now. And now he'll be moving on to a new system with new players and new teammates. So we'll see how that works out for him. Some players who need to have a big 2021. Alex Ring. I mean, we know the quality that he can bring, but I would say, and this is probably a compliment to how good Austin is, their weakest point is probably their defense. It definitely, their starting defense is definitely not bad by any regards, but they are a little thin at the back. So if some injuries start to happen, then things could look a little bit shaky at the back, in which case Ring is going to have to step up big time and clean up as much as he can to prevent whatever he can from getting to that back line. We know he's definitely capable of that, though. This is one for me personally. I said Brady Scott, and I said, assuming that he gets the start for Austin, he's really going to need to prove that he deserves to be starting every week, because there's definitely competition for him to get benched. And if he's not performing, he's going to get pulled. And then the last person I said is Beasler. First of all, Andrew, you want to say that first part for me? I know it's your favorite line.
It's Connor's go-to line here. Did anybody know that he is on the wrong side of 30?
He's on the wrong side.
Connor is basically FIFA. Connor is EA Sports FIFA, where the second you get over 30, you immediately become useless.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, kind of what I said before. I'm going to need him to be a leader in the back line and kind of marshal everything together. So let's see what he can do now that he's switching out of that SKC team that he was with for so long and moving into something new. I'm definitely curious to see what he can do.
The one thing I want to draw attention to is that spot that we have listed for Segura or Stroud. There are a lot of other players that can fit into that spot. One being Diego Fegundes. I reckon if they're going to go play with an attacking-minded midfielder, I think he gets a shout over Stroudy because Stroudy's more of a winger. I understand that transfer market has him listed as an attacking mid, but he just doesn't fit in that style, or at least he didn't with Red Bull. The other one that is a sneaky shout here is Daniel Pereira, one of the top picks. I believe he was the number 1 pick overall. I think Austin had the number 1 pick, right? They didn't trade it away. So he was number 1 pick. And watching his club highlights, he's got a bit about him. You know, he'll need a little bit of time to get used to the league, but don't be shocked if you see him getting a few starts this year, or getting at least minutes deeper down. Their depth is honestly not awful. Right back depth could use a little help, but you can throw Jimenez on that side. You can throw Cascante out wide. Their center back depth could use a touch more work, which I'm sure they're trying to address. But yeah, your center, and I think if we take a look at that formation, right? We talk about how the U.S. men's national team is probably where he's going to pull from. You have to assume that the reason he went out to get Ring, not necessarily the reason, but one of the reasons, is so he can play a formation where he can throw as many people forward as he can. I don't think anybody would be shocked to see Ring playing as a lone center defensive mid in this system, because he's just so good at cleaning up behind the back. And like we mentioned, if Segura does get in there, he plays both sides of the ball pretty well. So I think those are the two things I would throw in there. I think you'd probably see Mr. Fegundes taking that cam spot over Segura or Stroud, or him swapping in with Pochettino, so that Segura can play more of an 8 than a 10. But other than that, honestly, really hyped for this. Like I said, they're on paper, starting 11 really solid. Depth, attacking depth, outside back depth, midfield depth, pretty solid. Need a little bit more help at center back, but I'm hyped for this team.
Yeah, I think I was going to say, when we were talking about this yesterday, I think we went with Segura because he would be more willing to track back, and we kind of assumed that Pochettino was going to stay forward for most of the time. So
correct.
And I'm not sure.
Which easily would turn it into a 4-2-3-1, which is what we're seeing most teams play anyway, but with maybe more freedom for Segura to go forward. You can see a lot of different formational settings here, which would be something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, so if they go with a 4-1-4-1, then I would say probably Diego Fegundes could be in that camp spot. But I think if they go for more of a 4-2-3-1, I'm not sure that Fegundes, I mean, maybe I didn't watch a ton of him, but I don't remember him being much of a defender, so I'm not sure how much he would drop back and defend.
Correct. Thoughts, Adam? You've been kind of quiet.
No, I was just letting you guys go. I don't hate this back line. It's definitely the weaker point, but like we've seen other teams in Texas not have a back line. So like it's just something they do down there, I guess.
I mean, other teams.
There's another team in Texas.
Yeah, Houston.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, but why other teams? Why not just another team?
Oh,
well, Dallas doesn't have a back line, according to you. They don't have anybody.
Who?
Dallas.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I agree. Sorry, I've been looking down at the cell phone for a little bit. I'm trying to share the episode that actually came out as we're recording right now. Season 2, episode 3 is live. We talked about all the other stuff, and I'm just trying to share it so everybody else can listen. We haven't been home yet today. So just trying to multitask as we record because working and doing a podcast is difficult.
We also just got breaking news of a pretty big transfer, but we'll talk about that next week.
That happened this morning.
Yeah. Well, I just saw it now.
Well, maybe somebody should be looking at the notification on their phone. All right. I'm not driving into it. We're going to look at new look CF Montreal. New badge, new team name, new head coach. Wilfred Nancy takes over for Thierry Henry after 1 season. 2 seasons? 1 or 2 seasons. He wasn't there long enough to be happy. He left for family reasons. Wilfred Nancy comes in, has been the assistant there for a while, played his pro ball in 2nd Division France, owns his A license from the Canadian Soccer Federation. Excuse me. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. 9th in the East, 18th in the league, lost to New England in the first round of the playoffs. 8-13-2 record last year. Henry used 4 different formations in his last 5 games. So I'm not quite sure what Nancy's going to come into. But being that it's the go-to move, let's assume they're going to do a 4-2-3-1 like everybody else. Diop is your only real solid option in goal. Broguillard, Binks, Camacho, and Bassong make up your back line. Wanyama and either Piet or Maciel, depending on how you want to play. He's going in there. Jordi Mihailovic fills in that cam spot, flanked by either Lapalainen or Tabla, depending on kind of what you're looking at here, with Kyoto or Torres on the right side, and Bjorn Johnson, the New York lad, or Mason Toy. Adam,
no, hold on. We're not going to just glaze over the fact that you said or Mason Toy. Mason Toy is getting that starting job.
I was about to say, who starts up there? Who do you think?
Mason Toy is 100% starting.
Are you sure? Because he's been on the bench for the last 3 years while Bjorn Johnson was scoring on every team that he played for.
Just Mason Toy time.
I doubt that. But anyways, key players. Obviously, you're looking at Samuel Piet, your captain, your center defensive mid. You want him to really be the enforcer there. He's done it well over the last few years. Needs to continue that. Victor Wanyama, big money move. Defensive midfielder, center back, led your team in shots last year. Probably not a good idea, but he did. Well, didn't lead, but he was up there like 3rd or 4th. And then Louis Binks, best defender in the bunch on his way to Spurs. Right, or Bologna? One of the two. I want to say Bologna because that's the partner. I think they got him from Spurs. He's on his way to Bologna. I could Google it, but I'm sure we'll get corrected anyway. Finally, who needs to have a good 2021? Obviously, Jordi Mihailovic signed for big money this offseason, almost $1 million, if not more, in allocation money. You better prove that. And then Toy or Johnson. You got no more Urruti, no more Bojan. They both topped the team in goals last season. They're both gone. Got to find goals from somewhere. They got to produce, and they got to produce early. What I'm really interested to see with this side is the type of play that they are going to put out. Is this going to be a team that we've seen from Montreal where they're going to sit in, absorb a ton of pressure, and just try and counter? Are they going to try to possess a little bit? Are they going to try and high press, win the ball up the field? Being that Nancy has been on this staff for so long, I can't imagine them trying to automatically come out and play tiki-taka through the middle. It's just me. I also don't see them as a team that's going to press super high. It just feels weird to see a high pressing Montreal team. So I think they're probably going to sit back, try to cut passing lanes with Wanyama and Piet's intelligence, and see if they can start counters that way. You got some really good attacking 4 options there. Wondering how it will play together, but I can't imagine them trying to beat teams with possession, not at least after the last few years that we've watched them. Connor, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, when I was taking a look at the formation that you put up yesterday while you were working on it, I was like, when the attack doesn't nearly seem as bad as I thought it was. It almost feels like they definitely got better in attack.
Correct.
Yeah, it's the defense that definitely is the question mark. I'm not even going to say that they'll necessarily be bad because this is MLS and who knows what can happen. But there's definitely some things to be excited for this year for Montreal. And I really want to see how Jordy plays with this team because I feel like this has the potential for him to be like the centerpiece of the attack. And I think that would be great to get to develop his game and like really get him in the spotlight more, get him in the men's national team picture more if he is playing well and breaking out.
What I am worried about with him is the idea that when he was at Chicago, he was very good until all of his help went away. And now you're looking at another team where you might not have a ton of help around you, right? You got a very defensive look. Lapalainen's been hurt 9 out of every 10 games he's been. Tabla, I believe, is back on a permanent, but I'm not sure kind of how he'll play into that. Torres is a new face. Kyoto's been solid, but now you're looking at Mason Toy and Johnson. When last time you were looking at Bojan and Urruti, they're two different sets of players you'll now have to adapt to. I think he'll have a better chance of playing with Toy and Johnson because he's played with Nikolic, he's played with Robert Barrett, so he's played with that big target forward more so than the run behind type of tricky forward. But it'd still be interesting to watch to me.
Yeah, I have one point I just want to bring up. It has nothing to do with the actual team and how they do this season, but I missed the Montreal Impact name. Just Club Football Montreal is stupid. I don't hate the new logo. It's not great, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. But I feel like it was a step back in terms of losing the impact and making it kind of something different.
I think I personally myself, because you watch so many European teams with the United and the football club or soccer club or whatever, I do miss the different names, the Houston Dynamo, the Montreal Impact, the Columbus Crew. That made our league unique. And I agree. I think it would have been cooler just to have it stick around, but that's just me.
Yeah, because the last few teams that have come in, other than Inter Miami, have been Nashville Soccer Club, Austin FC, Charlotte S. Like
Inter Miami was the most clever one, and they just ripped off an Italian team.
Yeah. Like we get it. You guys are a professional soccer team, but like,
be clever.
Yeah, be clever.
Be better.
Make a name. Give us something other than a white T-shirt. Sorry, I'm getting off topic.
Can we get some consistency too on whether we're going to do FC or SC?
No.
Like, I don't care which one you go with.
That's the most creativity we have.
There's just no consistency with it. I don't care if you choose one or the other, but just like, let's all be on the same page.
Well, St. Louis went with both of them because their initials are like 17 letters long.
St. Louis United FC Town.
Yeah, like what's going on there?
We need more towns in this. Like Fleetwood Town. We need more of that.
We don't have towns though. We have cities.
No, but we need more towns. Is what I mean.
Wasn't that an option for Charlotte?
Pro team.
Charlotte Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the name options.
That would have been really sick.
Yeah,
I just feel like we need more of them.
Charlotte
that gives you that homey feel. Like if I go out and I'm watching Fleetwood Town, it's like, oh man, that's my hometown club. If I'm watching St. Louis City FC United, it's like, this is silly. It's all St. Louis. We need more towns. I'm putting in a demand for more towns.
I mean, yes, until you go to a Charlotte game and say, I just paid $17,000 to watch one game.
Not today. We're not doing that. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been too many tangents already.
It has been. Speaking of tangents, New York Red Bull. Just kidding.
No.
Seattle.
I mean, this is Seattle. Brian Schmetzer's there. He's going to be there for the next 1,000 years. Seattle's going to be good. And there's nothing we can do to stop it.
This is how you know Adam was not in the conversation we were editing this, because Connor and I completely disagree with you. We think this is going to be an awful, awful year.
So they only really lost Jordan Morris.
You're saying they only lost Jordan Morris like the Bulls only lost Michael Jordan when he retired. I
don't think Jordan Morris is Michael Jordan.
You just compare him. Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean, Jordan Morris is very good. But
let me rephrase.
Let's hold on there for a second.
Let me rephrase. Basically, what you're saying is they only lost somebody, as if you're saying that a team only lost their best player, who their entire formation was built around and their entire attack was built around.
Does Nico Ladero not exist?
He's on the wrong side of 30.
Wrong side of 30. Connor has spoken.
Sure. I mean, they still finished second last year, even with Morris going on loan. Granted, they finished 6th overall and lost to Columbus in the final, but like it was Columbus. Like we picked them, at the beginning of the season to win it. It wasn't that difficult to see that they were going to win everything. So I think losing to them in the final just shows Seattle is still one of the best teams in this league. They may change things slightly up this season just based on personnel. Usually go with the 4-back with some sort of 4-2-3-1. May go 5 at the back this year, so more of a like 5-2-1-2. So Fry and goal, Roldan, Gomez Andrade, O'Neal, Arriaga in the middle with hopefully Nuhu. I love Nuhu as a wingback. He just watching that man run up and down the field is incredible. Christian Roldan and João Paulo, Nico Ladero, and then Montero and Raul Ruidiaz up top. Key players, I mean, Connor, I know he's 32. Don't explode, but Nico Ladero is still one of the best players in this league, and he will be until the day he retires. I was waiting to see if you'd.
Nope.
No disagreements. Yeah, I put him on the key players list first because he's their guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's been MLS Newcomer of the Year when he joined, and since then, I think has gone on to basically smash every record this team had in that position. Gomez Andrade is the other one, so that kind of rocking there in the middle of that defense, and then Raul Ruidiaz, just putting them away like he does usually. So the players that need to step up this year. So Christian Roldan, with Jordan Morris leaving and unfortunately now being injured, this team's gonna, hopefully look to, he's gonna be that spark in the middle to quick start their attack, both going forward and kind of shielding the back line. Yes, they'll have 5 defenders back there, but that middle protection where your CDMs are is just so important. Especially because it allows you to just let Ladero be free and do Ladero things up top. Also, to keep his place in the national team, I think having a good season this year will just allow him to be one of the I want to say older guys, but like he's not that old. But it's just that our current crop of national team players are just children. Arriaga is the other one. So assuming he's going to get that starting spot, he didn't have the greatest season last year. But the year before that, he was unbelievable. And then obviously Nico Ladero. So more of the attack will be placed on him, but like it's Ladero. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah. So I was working on this one. So I just want to clarify to any Seattle fans listening. So we had like a bunch of different formations that we came up with that could possibly work for Seattle. I think we just ended up picking the 5-2-1-2 because we just felt like it was more interesting. And I think it also incorporated their best players pretty well. But I would not be surprised at all if this was not even close to the formation that they played.
I think the reason we went with it simply is because they have nobody really to play in those wing spots.
Yeah.
Right? They've been a 4-3-3 team for forever, or throwing Jordan Morris up top. But if we look at their, and again, things can change. They can make signings. They can do a whole bunch of changes here. You look at their wing options. You're looking at
Kellen Rowe.
Ethan Double RA, Shandon Hopao, excuse me, and nobody to play left mid. You can play
Jimmy Madronda.
You can play Jimmy Madronda there. Raul Ruiz-Diaz is listed as a winger. Ladero can play out there if you want to take him away from the most dangerous position on the field. Kellen Rowe. Is Kellen Rowe Jordan Morris? Absolutely not. Their wing options are so not good.
Yeah, that's because they lost Jordan Morris and Jovan Jones, who were I think they were their starting guys for most of the season last year. I mean, I'm not sure about Jovan Jones, but
side note, Kelvin Leardon has officially been re-signed as well.
Has he?
Yes, he has now been added to the roster. So we can add him into that right back spot. However, for some reason, they love starting Alex Roldan. So that doesn't really change much. Doesn't make any sense.
Are you basing that off of Transfer Market?
Correct.
Okay, so on Seattle's website, he's still not on there.
Are we still doing this?
I think Transfer Market maybe just hasn't taken him off.
Too. Yeah, we did. We looked this up. Nope, he is. He's listed. Nope, who last played for Seattle. All right, so maybe he's not there. I can't get a grip. I swear I saw that he was re-signed somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong.
He could be there. We never know.
I can't find the list of all the transfers that MLS teams have made. But if I go to MLS, yeah, no, they're not saying anything regarding. Yeah, nothing about him coming back. Also, on Friday, March 5th, MLS.com said that Jordan Morris is back from loan, injured with a torn ACL.
He's probably just doing rehab here, and then he'll go back.
Excuse me. Anyways, that's a little bit of a side, but right, like they don't have the winger options to play this formation that they're used to, and they don't have the center mid options to be strong enough. You could play Jordy Delem, Danny Leva or Levia, Roldan, Kellen Rose listed as center mid, but then you got João Paulo and Ladero. So you could go Jordy Delem, Christian Roldan, João Paulo, Nico Ladero as a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond. And let João Paulo and Roldan run the 8, Jordy Delem sit in as a CDM and Ladero attack. I think that's probably what we'll see. But if not, I'd love to see right back right back Roldan playing as a wing back. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, this might be a big year for Jordy Delem. He might have some pretty big shoes to fill. Shall we move on?
Yep.
You sure?
Yep.
You ready to take on RSL, Connor?
Do you want me to take on RSL? Because I'm taking the next one.
No, I thought you were taking RSL because you own so much of their merch. You're basically their super fan.
That's true.
What we'll do is we'll put RSL and then I'll move Atlanta to the bottom. We can finish with them. How about that? I
mean, I can go back to back. It's not a big deal.
I really don't want to hear your voice more than I have to. I'm just kidding. No, we'll spread it out. We'll spread it out a little bit.
All right.
Because you wrote a lot for that, so I want you to end on it. Okay.
All right. So RSL. I just as a disclaimer, I didn't research this one, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to talk about them. I'm sure Andrew can chime in at the end and put a little more detail into it, but their coach is Freddie Juarez. They were 11th in the West last year, 21st in the league. Shocker, 21st in the league does not get you in the playoffs. that's genuinely a shocker with how many teams made it last year. They finished with a record of 5-10-7, and we have them down as a team that can literally play probably any formation. So we really don't know, but we went with a 4-3-3. So we have Zach Mcmath in goal, although I'd personally say I would love to see Ochoa in goal. I'm sure you guys would agree as well. Herrera at right back, Glad and Silva as the center backs, Toya as the left back. In the midfield, the two central midfielders would be Luis and Krylak, Rusnak at cam, Maram on the left, playing left wing, Ramirez on the right, and Rubio Ruben up top, playing striker, new striker. So some key players for Arcel. Obviously Rusnak, he's been their top attacking guy for a few years now. And when you look at this team, I don't think anything's changed. He's probably still their best attacking guy. Justin Glad, same thing kind of, but on the defensive side, has been their best defensive player probably for the last few years. And I'm sure that he will continue to be a great defender for them. And then Damir Krylak. So he's definitely been a key player for them, even when they've been in down years. I mean, he's all over the place in terms of the formation. I feel like I've seen him play at striker, plays like defensive mid, center mid. I'm sure he's played at central attacking mid as well. So he's definitely an important guy to keep in the rotation. And then guys who need to have a good 2021. Everybody. Okay, that's Arcel. No. So Rubio Ruben, definitely going to need to come in and fill the shoes of Corey Baird, who's now off with LAFC and is probably going to light it up. So we're going to be looking to see if he can come in and try to, fill the goal scoring shoes of Corey Baird, and then Zach Mcmath in goal. So for me, I think Mcmath is going to need to have a big year because of the hype that Ochoa is getting, and I think that if he's not performing well, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to lose his spot. So I think that he's going to have to perform. Otherwise, he's going to get hooked and get sat on the bench. And if Ochoa starts to play well, then he's going to get stuck on the bench. So definitely he's got to come out strong, and he's got to stay strong if he wants to keep that starting spot. And then Luis as well. He's got to play in probably a deeper role in the midfield, especially if Krylak's going to get forward more. He's going to have to help protect the back line. And Andrew also noted that he's going to have to protect the back line without getting 9 yellow cards. Don't know if that's possible, but we can wish him the best.
Yeah, so I gave you this team because what really is there to talk about outside of them being in shambles? You're looking at a team that has finished all over the place because it's MLS, but they were really not great last year. And what have they done to get better?
They brought in Rubio Ruben.
What else? Something more than that.
You don't need anything else. That's all you need.
So I'm going to say that's not true because this team was just you don't finish 21st in the league because you don't have one striker.
This man is so good they almost named him twice.
Okay. So we did grades for this, and Connor gave him a D. I gave him a C-. I don't remember what Adam gave because he doesn't make notes on our thing here. But the only person they brought in was Rubio Ruben. Everybody else is a homegrown or drafted, which means they're relying on youth, which is fine. They've got 3 listed center backs who can play, plus Nick Beasler. They've got 2 left backs, Toya and Ashton Morgan, who I've never been a huge fan of. I don't know which side of 30 he's on because he is 30, but I'll let Connor figure that out. You've got 1 right back who isn't a homegrown player. You've got a couple DMs. One of them isn't there. Look, nobody on this team stands out to be like, wow, except for maybe Albert Rusnak. But they don't have an identity. You don't look at them and be like, oh, that's a Red Bull high press, or oh, that's a Philadelphia Union possess and attack down the flank. Like they don't have an identity. So what are you doing? The only other thing we need to mention is that they got Douglas Martinez, who can also play up top. So you might see a double striker formation here, but man, they've got nothing going for them. Jason Ramirez, big year, hopefully. He's still a young kid, 19 years old, but would like to see him make some impacts. Justin Miram way on the wrong side of 30 for Mr. Connor. You're relying on Rubio Rubin, who was playing USL last year, to light the league on fire. Now, granted, he's only 25 and he's still got a ton of potential about him, but so does Jesse Lingard, and he wasn't good until that went to West Ham. So
Jesse Lingard's only like 19 though, so
he's got so much potential, bro.
yeah,
That's future stars.
He'll come good. Don't worry.
But no, listen, they've got a really decent starting 11. I mean, that starting 11 can probably play with most teams. The second you hit 60 minutes, I'm not sold personally.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this team this year, especially if these guys, the starting 11 doesn't like come out the gate, firing,
which they're probably been known to do.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the team will then just be like trying out young guys and seeing who sticks, who's performing, and then building off of that, and then like slowly starting a rebuild essentially.
That's it. So you think this is a rebuilding year for them? I feel like this is the same starting 11 I've seen the last 2 years, though. When does the rebuild start?
And the pattern that they usually go, they're probably destined for top 5 in the West. So
oh yeah, they're on their way.
Yeah.
Everybody else will be so bad they'll get there. Portland, Adam, you want to take it since you're rocking their ugly scarf?
Just mean, but yeah, sure.
Not wrong.
I didn't say it was wrong. I just said it was mean.
That's fine.
I mean, this is kind of the same-ish as Seattle. Like, Portland's always somehow top of the table just because it's Portland, and they're one of the few clubs that, like, seem to have their act in order.
Except this year, they didn't lose their best player.
I mean, that Ladero's still at Seattle. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm going to hit you.
Nashville didn't lose Muehl.
Correct, but
all right, is that better?
We weren't comparing them to Nashville.
Okay. So Savarese is obviously still there. They finished third in the West last season, 8th overall in the league. And do we remember who they lost to?
The logo didn't look familiar to me. It was some red and blue thing.
Like northern Mexico.
That sounds about right.
Southern Oklahoma.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't remember that game at all. They finished 11-6-6, so like not horrible. Again, they'll most likely just stick with the same tried and trusted 4-2-3-1.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
What?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
I know.
It's just swapping in some new pieces. So Clark and goal, Van Rankin probably locks down that right back spot, and then Zubrich and Mabiala, Bravo at the left. Andrew's favorite, Diego Chara, as one of the 2 DMs.
Should I do it?
Go for it.
Remember when you guys did him as the best center defensive mid in the entire history of the last 10 years? Unreal. You guys are ridiculous, and I can't believe I'm still doing a podcast with people who think that.
That's fine.
Continue.
Williamson's probably the other one who partners alongside him. Yimi Chara on the right mid. Although I do love some Andy Polo, just because his name's Polo. Diego Valeri as the cam, Blanco as left mid, and insert name up top. Because honestly, you could tell me any of these 3 would get the starting job, and I'd believe you.
I have to assume they're going to stick with the Mora and Diaz-Goda run, and Ebobisse is going to be the odd man out, which is ridiculous that their third best striker is Jeremy Ebobisse.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you could literally start any of these, and I would be like, all right, that's a solid option up top.
Imagine being a team like Red Bull that have strikers who can't score in the first 15 games of the year. And then there's teams like Portland, whose third best striker is a U.S. men's national team.
Well, that's like, wasn't Phillies? Which team in the East like 2 seasons ago had like 3 goalies that all could have been starters?
I think it was Philly. You had Blake, you had McCarthy, and you
And
had
Frieza.
Friesa, yeah.
Yeah, like why
Friesa's in the U23s right now.
Yeah, like why do you need that much depth? Just not fair.
They're making up for when they had Mboli.
Fair.
Rice, what a guy.
Key players, obviously Diego Valeri. I mean, same thing as we talked about with Seattle and Ladero. All their attacks just going to flow through him. He's very, very good. In case anyone is new to this league, like Diego Valeri is kind of good at soccer. Sebastian Blanco, if he can stay healthy, will carry some of the weight of that attack. And then we have Mora, but like insert striker here. Whoever gets the most game time up top will arguably the one finishing their chances. So this team,
That's a really good observation. Whoever's playing striker has a really good chance to score goals. That's the type of content you come for on this podcast, guys.
So remind me, Andrew.
We have two basically almost professional soccer coaches here. And that's the type of content we're getting here. I love it.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but the Red Bull strikers took 15 games despite having chances.
Yeah, but they had their best chances to score through them. You're telling me Tom Barlow didn't miss 7 breakaways last year? Don't start with me.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, so the players that need to have a good 2021, Jeremy Bobosi, he played a little bit of wing-ish kind of last season. So, like, if more nears go to get the start up top and, you know, they want to slot him in on one of the sides, like, I wouldn't hate it. Like, J-Mo needs to see the field. Just one of those things.
Who needs to see the field?
J-Mo?
Apparently J-Mo. Oh, I thought you said J-Mo.
I heard J-Mo too, and I'm like, my guy.
No,
Once again,
J-Bo. J-B-O.
It's Jebo, J-E-B-O.
I'm just whatever. I can read off my notes.
You definitely can.
I can. You just can't hear me.
You've tried. It's failed. Anyways, continue.
Okay. Williamson's the other one. So strong year maybe gets into the national team conversation, but
no.
I said maybe.
No. Yeah, maybe is wrong. Definitely not.
All right. Well, throw him
maybe U23. What is he? He's like 20, right?
Yeah, I think so. Throw him into a friendly. Those things don't mean anything.
Yeah, he's 23.
Yeah.
He's my age.
Are you 23?
He could probably if he had a good season, I think if they went back with like that one time where they just kind of brought in all these MLS guys and a lot of young MLS guys, I think if he had a good season, he could be in that conversation. But probably not for the normal team.
When we talk about grasping for straws, I think you are reaching like across the country to grasp at this straw.
Well, I got to reach all the way to Portland, so.
Granted, he's had 20 U20 appearances and 1 U23 appearance. He doesn't get in. You're telling me that he gets into the national team right now?
I didn't say that.
Even if he has an MVP year, where does he fit in?
It's not.
He gets 1 game in January against Trinidad and Tobago, and we're beating them 9-0. He never.
Yeah.
Don't even that's just so.
But there's a handful of MLS guys that get that.
I'm not even going to entertain the rest of this conversation. Please continue.
Did I say anything about him getting into the World Cup squad, playing in the goal, like anything of importance?
He had 1 good season for Portland in a 12-game season. Stop it with
this.
He
has a good season this year. He gets back in.
I'm not having this conversation. This is baffling that somebody even wrote. I don't know who prepped this, but whoever wrote this, it might get kicked off the pod. Like, that is where we're at right now. That is absurd. Oh my God. Especially considering it's a year of Amir. Like,
that is true.
You think he's gonna bump Amir from that?
Yeah, no, that's
I can't even keep a straight face on that one. Continue so we can move on because I can't. I'm not doing I'm
Moore
actually
is-
deleting it while we continue on.
That's fine. Moore is the other one. So with the striker spot being as competitive as it is with the talent in this team, Moore is going to have to stay at his best, finish his chances, and just prove that he can do it consistently with another good season.
Are we done? I don't feel like talking to you about this team anymore.
I mean, I guess we're going to move on to New England, which like
We're moving on to New England, which still doesn't make sense. I'm gonna
isn't a team.
go off on this one too.
Yeah, go for it.
Here we go.
All right. Bruce Arena leads the New England men, who were 8th in the East last year, 15th in the league, and somehow made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to Columbus. Don't know how they got there. 8, 7, and 8. Once again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. 4-2-3-1. Turner in goal. Tejon Buchanan, because Bruce Arena is the only one psychotic enough to play a striker at right back, and make it work, because he had a hell of a postseason run. Kessler and Farrell in the middle, DeJuan Jones on the left, Polster and Kaptoum in front of them with Bo, Bunbury, and Carlos Heel across, because that's what they were looking at last season, right at the very end when they went on that run. So you have to assume he's going to let Bo play a little bit more creator than he was pure goal scorer, which I think is a really good move. I think he has that ability with Hill to play on the right, kind of like Kaku did on the left with Red Bull for a little bit, and then Book's up top. Key players, obviously, you're looking at Gustavo Bo, Carlos Heel, and Matt Turner, all across the back, right? Bo is one of your best scorers, Heel is one of your best providers, and Turner is a U.S. men's national team hopeful in goal. Players who need to have a really good 2021. Kaptoum obviously needs to step in that role without a hiccup. You can't let that team start to run without having some solidification in the midfield there. Look at that word. That was awesome.
That was impressive. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man. And Mr. Kessler, do not fall into that sophomore slump. You had a very good rookie campaign. Keep it going, my friend. I don't get Bruce Arena teams and how they can come from the bottom of nothing and just go on runs like that. Just don't get it. Like, the fact that they got through so many teams to get to Columbus is kind of crazy. They beat Montreal, I believe, in the first round. Went on and took on Nashville to the... Hold on, please, while I look this up. There it is. So beat New England, or rather beat Montreal, excuse me. Went on to beat Orlando 3-1, one of the best teams running out of preseason. They smacked, and then they went in and lost to Columbus. Just don't get how they... Oh, and they beat Philadelphia too, by the way. Sorry, side note. They smacked the Supporters Shield champions 2-0, where Tejon Buchanan scored from right back. I don't get how he does it. It's kind of magic, but I'm kind of tired of it because he couldn't do it with Red Bull. But no, I think you're going to see a lot of attacking play out of Buchanan and Jones from the wing, because I think you're gonna feel confident with Polster, who did play right back for Chicago, if I remember correctly, while he was there. That sounds about right. That sounds close.
Yeah, you're right.
And then Kaptoum also being able to cover that space if they get caught up front and nobody to support. Those are two really strong defensive mids. So I think you're going to see a lot of wing play, especially with Buchanan on the right side, combining with Heel, Bo, and Buksa up top. The question will be how you stop them, right? How do you stop a team that's attacking there with numbers on your wing? You got to transfer over, and then you play the ball into Bo, who goes back, switches the field, and attacks from the other side with DeJuan Jones. Like they're quietly a very good team, and I think they'll be much better than eighth in the East this year. Look to them to push 4 or 5. I think would be probably a good spot for them. Thoughts?
It's New England, and they'll probably finish
7th.
towards the like 7th, 6th, and then make it to the conference finals.
Again.
Mhm.
No, I think they'll be better. Go ahead, Adam.
So fifth.
Yeah, I said fourth or fifth.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, that's probably accurate. I don't hate this team. I don't know how they consistently do better than they should every year.
It's Bruce Ball.
That's Bruce Ball, baby. That's exactly it.
Arena ball.
Yeah, except he couldn't do it with the men's national team on a cold Tuesday night in Trinidad, but
No.
whatever. But yeah, you still got Teal. Tommy Mack exists. They just signed Nor Trouston, a winger, to fill in that spot as well.
I love that Tommy Mack just exists.
Tommy Mack exists.
Yeah.
I'm not starting with that, but no, if you take that Trouston, play him on the wing where Heel is, that allows Heel to come central. You can push Buxa up, go with a 2-striker formation. They have a lot to work with. They also have Luis Caicedo, who can play in that center mid. He did in meniscus a little bit. Scott Caldwell still exists, at the ripe old age of 30. He fills in that center mid role really well. We talk about depth. These guys have a good bit of depth. Center back's a little thin. They can cover with AJ De La Garza. Right back, they can play Brandon Bai out there. They have done a very quietly good job of creating a very serviceable, full, well-rounded team and Emma Boateng. So they, like I said, you'll never get a team that will have to rest players and not compete. So again, look for that. I think they're going to go 4-5 this year, somewhere around there. Behind Red Bull, Columbus, Atlanta, New York City, in that order.
It's too early for predictions.
No, it isn't. Red Bull to the Ost. Anyways, I believe that finishes up New England. We are moving really well. Let's finish with a good bit of our friends, Atlanta United, from our resident Atlanta United fan, Connor Wright.
All right. Here we go. Brand new coach this year. Me personally, I could say I'm very happy to see Gabriel Hines is now the coach instead of Frank DeBoer. Did you know he got fired by Atlanta?
Did you?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Andrew,
Adam
did you
doesn't
know?
get that joke.
No, he doesn't.
Adam doesn't get that joke.
We could just skip the next two parts. So the formation.
We definitely don't. Where'd they finish last year? What was their record? Where'd they finish? Let me know.
I don't. Do I really have to look this up?
Let me help you because I've got it right here.
I don't think they played last year.
In the league.
They just took off last year.
In the conference, third to last, only above DC United and soon to be first place finishers FC Cincinnati. I forgot Red Bull have to finish second because FCC are going to finish first. And where'd they finish in the league overall? Let's find out. Drop that. Oh man, I got to scroll really far down. 23rd. The only other team that were worse than them was Houston. Unreal. You were basically DC United and FC Cincinnati combined. How does that make you feel?
That's irrelevant. So this year, it's a new year. All right.
New year, new
things. Me. Yeah, exactly. And things, in my opinion, are looking really good. I like the way this team is shaping up a lot. So we have them down as a 4-3-3 formation. We got Guzan in goal. At right back, either Hernandez or Lennon. And center backs, Miles Robinson. I don't want to say Alan Franco yet because we saw last time what happened the last time they signed somebody.
Yeah, I think that one's basically across the line.
I think so too. So Robinson and Franco will probably be starting. Anton Walks is a backup. I said maybe an outside shot. We see some George Campbell minutes this year. Who knows?
I gotta be honest with you, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, he's another one of their academy guys that hasn't really gotten any shots. Side note, Atlanta has done great in the draft, I feel like. But with their academy guys, they've done a horrible job.
They had so many guys that when they signed to like young contracts that we were like, oh, these guys are gonna be good. Bello was one of them, and then they had what? Lagos Kunga, right?
Kunga, Chris Goslin, Carlton.
Well, Carlton
Yeah.
was a head case. That's not on them.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, and then George Bello at right back, which is probably the reason why we saw Gutman go to RBNY. Then in the midfield, we got Sosa coming in, playing defensive mid. I have Rossetto and Heineman ahead of him, playing a little bit farther forward. And
Interesting.
then I have Moreno playing on the right, Barco on the left, and Josef back up top. And boy, is it so nice to say that again. Obviously, this is maybe not the lineup that they're going to play. I think I tried to base it off of what Hines has played in the past. It could obviously completely change. Not sure. Could maybe see Moreno play more centrally, but I don't remember them having. Well, you know what? He should play more centrally. That way we can play Machop Chol on the right. Right, Adam?
Love it.
So then key players, Josef, obviously. Someone was messing with my notes.
Read what you wrote.
He's the best player in MLS history.
That's not what I'm reading. I'm reading the worst ever player. That's what I'm reading.
Yeah, well, this isn't about, you know, and I'm not going to say it. I don't want another tangent. Josef is going to look to bounce back this year.
Say it. You know, say it.
No.
Say
and we're going to
say it.
No. We've gone way too long already. We're not going on a tangent. We're going to hope, for the sake of everybody in the league, we're going to hope that he can return back to his MVP caliber.
Definitely not.
Yes, because when Josef is doing well, the league is doing well. And then I put Moreno as well. So I think he could be their main creative player. Kind of feels like the Miggy to Josef kind of connection a little bit. You know, I never got that feeling when PT was here, but in the little bits that I got to see Moreno play last year, it kind of felt like he has the potential to link up with Josef well like that. But obviously they haven't played together before, so that's a little bit yet to be seen, but definitely exciting potential there. And then I said Miles Robinson. We saw he had a huge 2019 season, really took a step up, and then last year took the step right back down. He had a pretty rough year. I think he was going through some injuries as well, but we're really going to need him to step up again and try to return to that 2019 form. You know, I originally wrote this before they signed Franco, so he was, in that case, he was definitely going to have to, you know, marshal the back line, be a bit more of a leader for us, especially with, you know, the back line's pretty young, whether it's like Hernandez or Lennon on the right, Bello on the left. So he almost feels like one of the more veteran guys in their back line. Obviously, you have Goose in goal, but I'm definitely really interested to see if Robinson can bounce back. And speaking of bouncing back, guys who need to have a good 2021.
Nice.
Miles Robinson. Thanks. I'm kind of good at the segue thing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're actually gonna just be the designated segue podcast. As of right now, well, this doesn't apply anymore. When I originally wrote this, I said we need another big center back, which we got. So that takes some of the heat off Miles Robinson. But regardless, definitely think he needs to bounce back after last year. I said Barco. Definitely Barco needs to have a good 2021 because at this point, you can't even say he's still adjusting and all that stuff. Like he's had his time. He needs to, you know, prove his value and prove that he was worth the price tag. Because, I mean, the hype when he came in was ridiculous. And while he's shown flashes of good potential, it just hasn't been consistent at all. And he really needs to have more of that some more of those good flashes, but more consistently. So I'm hoping to see that for this year. And I think if he has a big season, that'll be the ticket to get him to Europe. So he'll be gone if he has a good season. And then I said Sosa, and I don't know too much about him. I haven't really seen how he plays or anything, but assuming he plays in a defensive midfield position, I think that he could have a similar role to Ring with NYCFC, kind of just sit in front of the back line, try to clean things up. I originally, before they signed Franco, I figured he would definitely have more of a key role because I felt the back line was definitely going to be a bit shaky. So I thought he was going to be even more important than obviously now some of that pressure is off, but still going to be a really important player for us because if he can really lock it down back there, then that can allow Rossetto or Hyman or whoever's playing in front of him to really go forward and not have to worry as much about getting back and defending if he can really lock that up there. And like I said, with the back line being very young, it could be a lot of mistakes. I think he'll help to kind of mitigate that. So, yeah, Atlanta to the Cup, to the Shield,
And just look at that.
Open Cup.
More out of time. I'm still angry because I have a Wikipedia page open to Eric Williamson, and that is not.
You need to move on.
That's not where this conversation should have gone. Yeah, no, we joke about it all the time. I hope Josef comes back to like 75% of what he was because that still makes him a top 5 striker in the league, but doesn't put him above Brian White, which is all that we're really looking for, right? No, like I said, this team is building back in the right direction after FDB took them down the drains a little bit. Center back, you want to see a bit stronger. I want to see George Bello have a year, man. I want to see him come out and just ball out, like to the point where we're talking Juve Roma type of transfer moves. Want to see Sosa fit in with Rossetto, Moreno, Parco, the lot. I feel like that would be a really cool thing to see. But no, I think they're moving in the right direction. I think Hines is a good squad in front of him, and if he can just get them all bought in, going in the right direction, they'll be more than fine.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to note too, if Josef is a little bit slow to come back, hopefully this doesn't happen, but if he like re-agitates his injury, Atlanta's really deep at striker this year as opposed to last year. So I definitely would have faith in the team to be able to continue to play well, even if he goes down again. I mean, you have Eric Lopez, Lisandro Lopez, you got Kubo. So there's definitely some options up top. I mean, the team's pretty deep in general, to be honest with you. I mean, they have Jurgen Damm as well still on the team.
Yep.
Jake Mulready, Mo Adams, Franco Ibarra. You know, they got a lot of players. Mikey Ambrose is back.
The team is a lot deeper than one may think. Excuse me. Adam, your thoughts?
I kind of want to see what Josef does. I mean, he didn't do anything last year. What the hell was going on?
Sucks.
I don't know.
Brian White scored more than him.
I don't know, 0 goals last season. Like
Listen,
the hell?
he needed to give everybody else a chance.
I mean, yeah, but like, do something. No, I think George Bello is probably the player I'm going to look at the most. I feel like he should be the starter. At least, you know, the brief few games that I saw of him last season, like he seems potentially like one of those guys that in a year or two could get a big transfer or another transfer abroad, just because he's so young. But yeah, Atlanta, I can't imagine does worse than last season. So they obviously.
It would be really great if they did.
I mean,
that would make me laugh.
Like, really not be great.
All righty. That's it. That's all we got. Connor, what are you making edits to your notes already for? The episode's over. Let's fix that really quick. Anyways. Stop it. All right. Nobody can see this, so this just looks really weird. That's it. Thanks for watching episode 4 of season 2 of the Designated Players podcast. We'll be back next week where Adam basically runs the entire show, driving the hype train for Gotti Kinda's SKC Probably Orlando because he loves random teams. Vancouver and Ali Adnan. He's just going to talk about Ali Adnan all the time. FCC, of course, he's leading that hype train. Inter Miami, we know about, and Colorado. So basically, we're not showing up next week. So have fun listening to Adam. No, I'm just kidding. We'll all be here making fun of Adam and his bad takes. But until then, check out all of our social medias. Facebook, Designated Players Podcast. Twitter, the DP Pod 1. Instagram, _designated_podcast _players _ something like that.
All underscores.
All underscores, because Adam doesn't know how to make an Instagram. I gave him one job. He blew it. Anyways, TikTok, we will be back on TikTok once I have time to make them. It's been very difficult with work, but we'll be back there. That's at the DP Pod as well. YouTube, the Designated Players Podcast, where we post clips from every video, so you could just take quick snips of what you want to see. Go find them on our YouTube page. We post them every day. I've yet to miss a day. That's pretty cool. So keep checking those out. Other than that, I got nothing else. You guys got anything else you want to add?
No, I'm gonna go prepare my 2-hour monologue for next week.
Prepare 2-hour monologue.
Literally.
Yeah, we know.
I'll have some time this week.
Yeah, we know. Other than that, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching wherever you are. We hope you had a great day. Have a great day in the future. And we'll see you next week on the next episode of the Designated Players Podcast. See ya.